Yeah, relocating from Australia to Dubai in January, it's been an amazing experience, and I touched on the feeling that I get when I'm here in regards to the year of tolerance. That it's that you can sense that there is a genuine curiosity from everybody here wanting to learn and evolve more and to understand one another on a community level, but also a global scale. So it's really exciting to see what's going to evolve from the different events that have been held and from the conversations that have been taking place. And I think that it's really opening people's ideas to new possibilities and potentials. And it's going to be really wonderful to see how things transpire from here on in moving forward. Yeah, absolutely. I think Sport One offers a wonderful platform in terms of bringing people together. I think it's a great conversation starter. It enables people to see abilities rather than, I suppose, what people can't do. And so, I have that platform to be able to share my story and to be able to offer some insight into the benefits of what sport has offered me and how that can potentially bring more people together. And I think by communicating and having those conversations around diversity and people of determination, it's going to help break down any more barriers that still exist. I think we're doing really, really well here in the UAE, and I think people are really open to learning from one another. And I think that's always the first key, but it's going to be crucial with how things evolve in the future. But I think certainly sport, and coming from the background that I do, growing up with a disability and learning to navigate that in my own community gives me a little bit more insight on how I can best approach that with other people who perhaps haven't experienced a disability in the same way, and being able to show people that I'm capable of so much more than perhaps what society might tell them based on preconceived ideas. So I'm looking forward to be able to share my story with many more people, and in particular young people as well, because I think they're the next generation who are going to really implement these changes and differences. So it's exciting times. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe through my experience that working with young women in particular is so important for the future of our community, and having conversations with them about how they can build resilience and their self-esteem based on the differences that we all possess. And through the workshops that I've done in Australia, learning just how creative young minds are and how much potential that they have and how they see the world through non-judgmental eyes, and how beautiful and innocent that is, and how we as adults can learn so much from their perspective. And so I would love to be able to have the opportunity to work with the young people of the UAE through helping to build resilience and an understanding of what tolerance is all about, and how we can accept one another's differences and the benefit that that's going to play in all of our lives. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right, there is still a lot of stigma around mental health and mental illness. And I think that comes from people's fear of what they don't know and what perhaps they haven't experienced themselves. And so it can always be a daunting journey to embark on when we're wanting to understand something but not sure how to ask the right questions. And so the first step is always communication, and including people who have had lived experiences, inviting them to be part of the conversation, to sit at our table and to be able to learn from one another about the best ways that we can move forward, ensuring that people are empowered to use their voices and that they feel heard, that they feel seen and validated. Because I think once people feel as though they are being represented, then we're more likely to be able to work through and navigate some of the concerns or issues that we have that for many years have been blocked because of our fear to be able to talk about issues that I suppose make a lot of us feel uncomfortable, when really there's no need to feel uncomfortable. Mental health is an issue that so many of us can relate to, whether we've experienced it ourselves. We certainly know somebody else who has or is going, through a personal struggle of, from a realm of different reasons. And I think we owe it to ourselves and one another to start having those really important conversations and just asking respectful questions first and foremost, to be able to educate ourselves and how best to approach situations moving forward. I think it's really important that young athletes in particular build up a support network. So whether that's through family and friends or other athletes as well, because I think it can be a really daunting time, especially for young adolescents, youth, to be thrown into a world where they're expected to be so much more mature and so much older than what they are. And it can place a lot of extra pressure, that's got nothing to do necessarily with sport or the field that they're in. And so we have to be very mindful of the expectations that we have on our young people. But I think it's really important that young people feel safe and secure and supported in the area that they're wanting to pursue. And so it's important that they have people part of their support network, such as coach, family physiotherapist, whoever makes up that team, who they feel comfortable that they can confide in, and make sure that they're keeping those lines of communication open. So if at times they do feel that the pressure is becoming too much, they're able to feel comfortable to voice that to somebody who they trust, and that they can work through that so that it doesn't compound and become an issue that can potentially have, devastating consequences later on. Since arriving in the UAE, I have honestly been so pleasantly surprised with everything that is the Year of Tolerance. Certainly for someone who identifies as a person of determination, somebody living with a disability, it has been so refreshing to come into this community and this environment and to feel welcomed and to be feeling as though people are willing to ask questions and to understand and wanting to know more. And it's a really nice feeling, and it's exciting because I know that so many wonderful things are going to transpire thanks to this wonderful year. And I can see that in the way people are talking about tolerance and diversity and inclusion. And so for somebody who has been able to identify as part of a minority group for so long, it's really it's quite a lovely feeling, and it's certainly making that transition of relocating here so much easier for me and my entire family. It's a beautiful concept. Obviously, I heard it for the first time arriving here in the UAE. The people of determination is a great way of changing our language when it comes to talking about these particular issues, because in my experience, it's encouraging people to see beyond first appearances and to look for what people are capable of doing, rather than perhaps focusing on what they might not be able to achieve. And so there's so much optimism and hope just in those few words, and I think it's a fantastic way for that particular community, people of determination, people living with a disability, to feel as though the rest of society is starting to see them for who they are, rather than just their disability or just their appearance. So it's been a beautiful experience so far, and I'm really grateful to be able to share in this journey with other people of determination.